afternoon and welcome to the news update on Dominion Television, Ibadan. I am Anoluwapo Idowu. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has asked the National Assembly to approve a 9.09 trillion naira increase in the 2026 budget. The request was conveyed in the letter read on the Senate floor during plenary by Senate President Godswill Akpabio. The federal government plans to fund the adjustment through crude oil revenue gains and new borrowings. President Tinubu said the proposed increase is aimed at strengthening fiscal transparency and supporting the implementation of key national programs. He added that the review will also help accommodate existing public debt obligations within the budget framework. The Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru, has said troops of Operation Hardin Kai have killed about 80 terrorists in recent operations across parts of the Northeast. Speaking during an operational visit to the Theater Command in Maiduguri, the minister said the operations were carried out in Malum, Fatori, Damasak, and Magumeri. He commended the troops for sustaining pressure on insurgents despite difficult security and environmental conditions. The minister urged Nigerians to support the armed forces and refrain from narratives that could undermine troop morale. He also disclosed that President Bola Tinubu has approved funds for additional military equipment, including aircraft and drones, to strengthen ongoing counterinsurgency operations. The Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, has said more than 848,000 foreign nationals are currently overstaying their visas in Nigeria. Speaking in an interview, the minister said the figure was generated from the country's upgraded immigration monitoring system. Tunji-Ojo described regular migration as a growing security concern, noting the stronger monitoring and enforcement are critical to addressing the challenge. He also clarified that Nigeria's immigration agreement with the United Kingdom applies strictly to Nigerian citizens and does not include the transfer of foreign prisoners into the country. The minister called for stronger bilateral cooperation to ensure safe and dignified returns for persons without a valid residency status. The Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) has shut down offices of the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company (AEDC) in Abuja, Kogi, Nasarawa, and Niger states over the mass disengagement of workers. The action follows the reported sack of nearly 900 employees. NLC President Joy Jairu said the workers affected were not close to retirement, as earlier claimed by management, describing the exercise as deceptive. The labor union has issued a 48-hour ultimatum to AEDC to resolve the crisis or risk further industrial action. The development raises concerns over possible disruption of power supply in the Federal Capital Territory and the affected state. The Federal High Court in Lagos has ordered the freezing of funds and assets worth 448 million naira in a debt recovery suit filed by Keystone Bank. Justice Chukwujeku Aneke granted the order against 5 defendants, restraining them from withdrawing, transferring or dealing with the funds and assets pending determination of the case. The court also directed banks and other financial institutions to preserve any accounts linked to the defendants and disclose their balances within 7 days. In addition, the defendants were barred from disposing of movable or immovable property up to the value of the alleged debt. The matter has now been adjourned to April 9th. And now to the foreign scene. Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye has signed into law legislation increasing the maximum prison term for same-sex guilty of promoting or financing same-sex relationships with jail terms of up to 7 years and higher fines. The legislation was passed by an overwhelming majority in the National Assembly last month. United States President Donald Trump said that military operations in Iran could end within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Trump said American forces would withdraw once Washington is convinced Iran cannot develop a nuclear weapon for years, whether or not a